started.
A little bit of a long layoff for you.
Yeah.
Excited to get back in there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been kind of just gritting my teeth for this past year, just waiting to get back in the mix.
But how do you prepare differently, knowing that this could be a 5-round fight? You haven't had to go that long in your career.
Yeah, you just train 2 more rounds, and you really just try to get your recovery inside of a minute down fast. If you can get your heart rate to recover inside a minute, you can go 5, 6, 7, 10 rounds. So long as you're in good shape and recovering in that minute, it's like you're pretty much fresh for the next round. So that's what we focused on.
How much did you look at her last fight, especially with how she was beat up a little bit early and then kind of had to come out of nowhere to pull it off? How much did you look at that, and did that factor into your game plan at all?
Well, I've seen Marloes fight a lot before that, and I felt like she didn't really look like herself per se. I've seen her fight a lot better, so I can only expect that she's going to come in stronger for that fight. But what I saw in that fight was definitely a lot of weaknesses, especially when it comes to her wrestling. She just doesn't have that element very developed to her game. It's her weakest link, and we all know that wrestling really kind of dominates in this sport if used right, and that's where I come from. I wrestled for 4 years before I ever got in this sport, so even if she went home and trained nothing but wrestling since her last fight, you don't learn wrestling in a matter of a couple months, so I think it's going to be a struggle for her, definitely. Anytime that we're a hold of each other, I feel like I'm going to have the advantage.
Seeing as Marloes fought at higher weights before, do you have any worry about the size difference?
Not really. I'm about 145 right now, so I got to cut down to 135. I'm actually worked on putting on a little bit of size just so that wouldn't be an issue. Normally I'm walking about 140, 142, and I'm up at 145 now. So it'll be a little tougher of a cut, but it should be just about perfect. That way there won't be too much of a difference come fight day. If she's cutting a lot more than me, it's probably going to take too much out of her.
Now, when we talked to you in Dallas, you were really excited about how your camp had gone and finished off.
Yeah, it was one of those camps that started really, really awesome, and it felt really, really good, and then I had a few bumps in the road, things happen, but I finished strong, and I figure you're mentally stronger for that, and I'm ready to come out there and win this title, so.
Now, with the Zuffa purchase and the whole issue of where women's going to make them go, do you feel there's any pressure to put on a big show?
Absolutely. I think, it's not exactly pressure, though. People will say, are you feeling pressure? And it's no, I don't feel pressured, but I feel really motivated because I feel like this is our opportunity, so I want to make the most of it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people paying attention to this, and Dana and Lorenzo and all the guys in the UFC and Zuffa, I think maybe finally start giving women a little bit of recognition, maybe start actually taking notice of it and becoming more informed of what it's about. And Marloes and I are, the 2 top ranked. I'm the contender, she's the title holder. So we really can say a lot about the caliber of talented women out there, and that's what I'm hoping for. I hope we really raise the bar and the expectations of what women are supposed to do when we get out there and fight.
Now, training with the Team Alpha guys, how has that helped you?
It's helped me training with the Team Alpha male guys. It's just, it's ridiculous, honestly. It's just insane. Training with them is they understand so much that it's so much more than just being physically ready, and they have this great mental outlook on life and fighting, and I think that's where most of the fight is won, is in your head and your heart before you ever get out there. So despite anything that's going wrong, injuries or anything like that, I still think that you can really perform well if you have a strong mindset. And if you're going into a fight with a great training camp and feeling strong and good and you have a great mindset, I feel like you're almost unstoppable. And that's where I feel like I'm at. I feel like I'm unstoppable.
We were talking to Sarah earlier this week in Canada, and she was saying how she'd like to get another shot at Marloes to get her title back. Now, if you were to beat Marloes, would you want to get a shot at Kaufman? Would Kaufman be a...
Yeah, she's where... target number 2 right now, I really, she wants to avenge a loss like I want to avenge a loss. She lost to Marloes, I lost to Sarah Kaufman a couple years ago when we were still fighting 3-3s, and I've learned a lot since that fight. That fight really taught me about confidence and how important that is, and I kind of doubted myself a little bit. I did better than I thought I was going to do in that fight, but looking back, not as good as I feel like could have done. So with that in mind, that all my fights that I've won, I think 5 since then, I just learned that you have to believe in yourself 110%. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. I could be fighting Cyborg tomorrow, and I would be 100% confident I'm going to beat her, because if you're not, it's not really the right sport for you. So I'm coming out there, and I'm going to fight as hard as I can. I'm going to do the best I can and lay it all on the line, and ideally I walk away with that belt. That's what I'm confident I'm here to do. Good.
you do walk away with the title, Cyborg's kind of on the shelf. Gina is kind of in limbo. Have you thought at all about, you could be like the next big face of women's MMA? Is that something that you kind of dream about a little bit?
Yeah, I didn't go into this sport striving for that, and it's not my main goal to be the face of MMA, but I love the idea that I have the opportunity to play a huge role in women's MMA, and I gladly accept that responsibility because, I feel like I'm a good representation for it. I work hard, and, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight, and I think everybody's going to see that where my heart and passion lies, in this sport, and I'm just happy if I can get out there and voice a little bit for the women. So definitely would be excited about that.
So do you consider yourself a pioneer, or does that occur to you?
I suppose if you look at how long the women's sport's been around, Marloes is actually a really pioneer. I've been a big fan of hers for a long time. I have a lot of respect for her as a fighter, and she's been around for 10 plus years. So the true pioneers have really been around for a while. I've been around maybe 5 or 6. So definitely I'm a part of the momentum. From there forward. Maybe not one of the original pioneers, but definitely one of the people that's bringing women's MMA to the forefront in this evolutionary stage.